Hi guys, I'm Richard. Welcome to Richard's Kitchen. Sunday afternoon, I don't have to work. The game was rained out, so I thought on a cool afternoon, it's raining like cats and dogs out there. So I thought last night I'll put me some navy beans in soak. So I've soaked these navy beans all night long. So we're going to have some navy beans the way my grandmother used to do it. My grandmother and my dad could cook any kind of beans and make them just taste so good, so good. So let's get started. I'll go over the ingredients as we go, but of course we're going to start with about 1.5 pounds of navy beans. They've been soaking all night long and they're just about ready to cook. It's going to take about 1.5 hours to cook these things, but there's a lot of things we need to get ready before we do that. So let's get started with that. The first thing we're going to do is I got me a cast iron skillet right here, and I'm going to kind of fry me up some bacon. A lot of people use ham hocks. A lot of people just use ham. I use bacon. That's the way my grandmother and my dad used to do it. That grease just really, that bacon grease just really makes it taste really good. And if you ever give this a try, I think you'd like it. Ham hocks is great. That great smoky flavor, but I like bacon. Who doesn't like bacon, right? So let's get started. So what we're doing, I got me just a touch of olive oil in my cast iron skillet, and I've got it on medium high heat, and I'm gonna throw this bacon in there. I've cut it up into about 1-inch squares, and we'll let this bacon get crisp, and then what we'll do is we'll add this to the beans, and then I'll go on to the next ingredients of what we need to do. Okay, our bacon's just about done. Just kind of on the semi-crispy side there. And what we'll do with this bacon is we'll take that and we'll pour that bacon into this pot of beans, leaving just a little bit of grease in there, and stir that up and let all those bacon, woo, that smells so good. I love bacon. Who doesn't love bacon, right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to hit this on medium heat, a little bit more extra virgin olive oil, and we want to sweat some onions. I got some Vidalia onions there, and some carrots, and some celery, and just a touch of salt in there. Now what this salt will do is help these veggies sweat. It'll draw the moisture out of these veggies, and that's what we want. We'll touch it with a little pepper just for taste, and we'll sweat these veggies down before we add it to our beans. Now some of these veggies, they're going to be mixing with what residual bacon grease is left in there, and it really, whoo, that smells so good. I wish I could smell this. I love beans. Beans are so good. Red beans, navy beans, butter beans. Man, there ain't nothing better on a cool afternoon and it's raining. So let's let these veggies sweat a little bit. Alrighty, our veggies are pretty well cooked down. Onions have become translucent. Now what we'll do is we're going to take these veggies. Ain't that pretty? I know I've said this before. I'm all about pretty. We're going to add these veggies and what's left of that bacon grease into this pot of beans. And we're going to set these things on simmer and let them start cooking. We'll mix this mixture up. Oh my gosh, look at that. Ain't that pretty? Okay, now, a lot of people use water. I use chicken stock or chicken broth. You just fill that up just to where it's covering the beans. Whew, that smells so good. I'm not going to add any more salt because the bacon kind of adds salt to that. And you see that. We got us a pot of beans here, and we're going to put that on kind of medium-low, and we're going to let them sit for about 1.5 hours and simmer. Now, as far as seasonings, what I've got here is I got some red pepper flakes, some oregano, and a bay leaf, some garlic powder, and some mustard seed. And we're just going to pour that in there just to add a little bit of seasoning to it. The red pepper flakes gives it just a little bit of pop. I love pop. That smells so good already. Okay, now we'll let these beans set for about an hour, hour and a half. Now, and I guarantee you, man, I tell you what, they the best tasting things. And my grandmother, she and my dad, they could cook some beans. Okay, while our beans are cooking, we're also going to have some cast iron skillet cornbread. Got me another cast iron skillet. Look at that, perfect size for some cornbread. And I'll go over the ingredients as we go. Nothing better than cast iron skillet cornbread. Homemade, from scratch. Don't use that packaged stuff. You don't know what you're getting in my oven. I'm sorry, my oven just telling me it's preheated to 425 for my cornbread. So, I'll go over these ingredients for the cornbread as we go along. Get you a big bowl, and let's get this cornbread started. So, we got us a cup of cornmeal, a cup of flour, a quarter cup of sugar, and about a teaspoon of salt, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, get my whisk, give this a quick mix up. Man, I tell you what, I love cornbread. And the way I do it, I'll heat some oil in a cast iron skillet and pour this mixture in there, and that gives you that golden brown crusty bottom that's so good. Okay, now we got 1 egg. We're going to add 1 egg to this thing. Pardon me a second, let me throw this egg shell away. Then, I don't know how much milk, I never measure it. I just pour a little bit in there and eyeball it a little bit, and then I start mixing. Now, I don't mix this thing to a complete liquid. You don't want to overmix this because it affects the texture of your cornbread. When it comes out, it needs a little bit more milk. I use 2% milk. It doesn't really matter. You can use water if you ain't got no milk. But anyway, you just beat this stuff up here until it's the consistency that you want. Like I said, don't overbeat it, because that's not what you want. Okay, so now while we're doing that, I'm going to take a little bit of vegetable oil, and I'm going to pour just a little bit, just to cover the bottom of this cast iron skillet. And I'm going to turn this heat up to high to begin with and let that get really hot. Because what happens is, when you pour this mixture in there, you'll want to hear a sizzle when you pour it in there. Because what that's doing is frying the bottom of this cornbread and giving that golden brown crusty finish. So let's get this skillet up to temp, and we'll pour this in there. I'll be back with you. Okay, our cast iron skillet for our cornbread is just about starting to smoke. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour this cornbread mixture in there. We want to hear that sizzle. Y'all hear that? See that bubbling right there? That's what you want to see. That's going to give you an immediate golden brown crusty finish for this cornbread. Man, I love cast iron cornbread, homemade. I don't use that packaged stuff. I'd rather just do it myself. Okay, you see that bubbling right there? So what we'll do is we're going to put this in this oven for about 20 minutes. And let's check on our beans here. They sure smell good. Yes, sir. All right. We got a little bit more to go on the beans. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Let's check on our cornbread. Ooh, look at that. Look at that right there. All right. Ain't that pretty? Now, if you have a properly seasoned cast iron skillet, this should just pop right out of there. Ha ha! Look at that. Look at that right there. Look at that golden brown, crusty crust. Oh my goodness gracious. Now, while it's hot, what I like to do is take me a stick of butter and I just kind of rub that all over there. Ooh, look at that. Ain't that pretty? It smells so good. I can't wait to eat this cornbread. And like I said, I do it from scratch. It's the best way to do it, I think. Better than that packaged stuff. Doesn't take any longer, really, other than mixing your ingredients. Now, what I also like to do, and I know I said this before, let's garnish it with some fresh chopped parsley. Make it pretty. I think it make it taste better. I don't know. It's real easy to do. I think you'd be proud of yourself. Look at that. Look at that cornbread right there. Ain't that just beautiful? All right, our beans are almost done. They've been on for about an hour and 20 minutes. Let's just set that cornbread right there and let's check on our beans. All right, our beans are ready to go. I say we bowl this stuff up. Look at that right there. Look at them navy beans with that bacon in there and all them veggies. You know, navy beans are really healthy for you. They're a source of good carbs, no fat at all. Of course, we got some fat with bacon in there, and really high in fiber, and they're really good for you. So, I say we cut this cornbread up and put us a piece on there, then we'll give this a taste test. Oh, listen to that crunch on that cornbread. Oh my goodness sakes. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Fixing to watch me some hockey. Look at that. Homemade scratch cornbread and some navy beans. Let's give it a taste test here. Bon appetit. Cornbread moist. Look at that. That's so good. Now, what we can do, garnish our beans with some scallion onions just to make it a little bit more pretty. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Hey, listen. Grandma's recipe for navy beans is good stuff. Real easy to do. Takes a little bit of time, but I think you'll like it. And as always, you know what? Do a random act of kindness for somebody less fortunate than you. You'd be surprised what it might do for them, and it'll make you feel good, and just might change their life. I'll see y'all next time, all right? Bye-bye.